today, and it's facilitated under the Nigerian Business Intelligence Community. So thank you, and you're welcome once again. LEARNTOR is passionate about creating the next generation of tech experts, techies, and this is one of the platforms with which we can learn and be able to build our skills and be relevant there. Okay, so today we'll be talking on how to automate your onboarding process. And we have our special guest with us here, Olajumoke Toriola, CTO at Mashem Limited, and most valuable professional and trainer. And we also have our founder, founder of LEARNTOR, Mercy George Igbafe, our hosts of this, glorious webinar. Okay, so we have basic ground rules for the call. So if you're on the call, kindly mute your mic to avoid distracting others. And if you have any questions, you're free to ask during the questions and answers. So while our guest is speaking to us, our mics are expected to be muted. So please, we're here for a learning session. Please avoid distractions so you can get the most out of this webinar. Thank you very much as you do that. Okay, so yes, so let's meet Olajumoke Toriola. So Olajumoke is an experienced Chief Technology Officer with a demonstrated history of working in the information technology and services industry. She's skilled in customer service, an action-oriented, enlightening, and communicative leader with outstanding, innovative, and creative ideas. Strong information technology professional with in-depth knowledge in industry-leading solutions and technologies such as Microsoft Exchange, Windows Active Directory, Microsoft 365, Azure, and SCCM. It is a pleasure that we welcome you, Mrs. Olajumoke Toriola. Thank you for gracing us with your presence today. Thank you so much.
You can hand over to her. Jumoke, you have the floor, and I hope that you get learning experience from this, and over to you.
All right, thank you, Mercy. Thank you, Ife. I just want to confirm once again, can you all hear me clearly?
Clearly.
Yes,
all right, then, thank you.
Well, we can't see you though.
Like I said, I'm super excited to be here.
We can't see you.
Thank you for this great opportunity. Thank you for the fact that... Hello?
We can't see you, ma.
Yes, because my internet is very poor, so that's the problem. I'm trying to maximize with the internet bandwidth. So I'm very sorry. I thought this was going to be on Teams. Maybe I would have just shown you my avatar. But please, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, yeah. So apologies once again. I'm seriously trying to maximize, like I said. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you, like I said, once again, Mercy, for this opportunity. This is a great thing you're doing, and I want to really commend you on this and with your team. Thanks to all of the organizing team. As clearly said, my name is Olajumoke Toriola. I think Ife has already done justice to the introduction. Part of what I would like you to know about me is that I'm fondly called MJ. And MJ in no sense mean Michael Jackson, because if you ask me to take any steps, you'll actually be disappointed. But MJ is just what I'm fondly called. So if I'm okay if you refer to me as MJ. And then if you want to reach out to me, those are my social media handles. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn and then on Twitter. And then if I'm not doing anything in tech, what do I like to do? I actually love making new delicacies. Probably maybe that will explain why I have a little bit of flesh, but then apart from that, I like to sing and I like to travel. So let's look at the agenda for today. We're going to be looking at a brief overview of what Power Automate is. I know that the past speaker have already spoken about a bit of what Power Automate is and all of that. So, but I'll just touch a little bit on it, and then probably maybe the features and benefits you get from Power Automate, and then the types of flow we can look at in Power Automate. And then the reason why I want to touch on this is because it's actually going to speak more to the demo I'm going to be doing, and then we'll have a demo, and then any questions is what I can think. So introduction really of what Power Automate is. We all know that is one of the components of Power Platform, and is a cloud-based services that is offered by Microsoft. And what Power Automate actually allows you to do is to help you create automated workflow between applications and services. And then what these workflows actually does, because they're automated, is to simplify or streamline repetitive tasks. So in a way, you find out that you are not going to be doing the same thing all over again, and you're going to be cutting down on a lot of production time and improve productivity of your workforce, really. So how does Power Automate works? One of the things you need to have at the back of your mind is that in building a flow, you can do it via a visual designer. And then the cool thing also is that you have pre-built templates that you can leverage on in the Power Automate environment, which we are also going to look at. And also the way it works is that it depends on what is called triggers or actions and condition for the automation, so to say. So you set a trigger, and then a condition is put in place or an action is put in place, and then you have that process of automation going on. And again, you can monitor and manage workflows from a centered dashboard. That's one of the cool things. One of the features and benefits is that with Microsoft Power Automate, you have more than 500 data sources. And then you also have available APIs that you can actually leverage on. Then you can, like I said before, you can automate routine and mundane tasks. In this way, you can actually reduce manual errors. And then it can also help you to increase your collaboration with your team, while productivity and efficiency is actually also increased. Now, little bit of just, like I said, I just want to digress a little bit because I know the speaker before me, who is Ibrahim, has already touched on this. So we have different kinds of flow. Actually, when it comes to Power Automate, you have three different kinds of flow. You have the cloud flow, which is a flow that you create when you want your automation to be triggered either automatically, instantly, or via a schedule. And then you have what is called the desktop flow, which is also sometimes referred to as UI flows. These are flows that probably you can also use to do what is called, if you ever heard of robotic process automation. So let's assume you have legacy kind of application and you want to automate the process on it. Desktop flows are actually ideal for that. So they allow you to do what we call a series of actions that can be replayed automatically. And such actions can be things like maybe you want to log into a website or filling out a form. So you have the flow, you have the robot, so to say, help you to carry out that task. Then the last one is actually the business process flow, which are used to automate complex workflows that involve multiple stages and people. So let's give an example. Could be that you want to have a flow, maybe an invoice process, so to say. So you can actually use it to define steps that must be complete for a specific, like I said, invoice or order to be completed. As such flow contains some form of condition as an approval before it can go on. So those are the three major flow. But for the purpose of our demo, I'm going to be concentrating on the cloud flow. And then, like I mentioned, you can use it when you want to do things like when you want it to be automated, or you want to schedule, or you want an instant flow. So cloud flows is actually divided into these three. One, the automated flow. So these are flows. Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Sorry, madam, we can hear you very well.
Yes, we
Sorry.
can.
Okay,
Somebody
all right
was
then.
talking.
Apology. Okay. So when you talk about cloud flows, when you talk about the automated flow, these are mostly the common types, really. And then they allow you to do tasks that are repetitive, but it is mostly done with setting up triggers and actions that run automatically based on certain conditions. And then for the purpose of our demo, we're going to be concentrating on the automated flows. And then you have the schedule flows. These are, from the word schedule. So you want a flow to happen probably at a specific time. So you feel that probably maybe, so I can give an example to say, I want a flow to trigger when it is at the end of the week. So send a report, or you update a database, that kind of, so those kinds are scheduled flow, which means that you schedule for specific period of time. Then the instant flows are triggered by event that occurs in an external system, such as probably a new mail arrived in your box, and then you said, okay, as this new mail arrived, take up a process immediately. So this flows automatically runs in response to an event. That is what an instant flow is like. Now, let's look at the elements of Power Automate, because it's actually very important that when you understand these elements, you will see how they all play out. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is the triggers. Triggers, these are events that initiate a flow in Power Automate. So triggers can be like actions, like receiving an email. So something triggers something. I receive an email, then trigger an action, so to say, then, or things like creating a new record in a database. That is trigger, what a trigger is. Another thing you'll be looking at is an action. Once something is triggered, an action will take place. So these are individual steps that make up a flow in Power Automate. Actions can include that sending an email, or at a point when somebody submits a form, you can say the action can be that send an email. That can be a form of action, or posting a message to a Teams chat. Then the next thing, I think someone's mic is on. Please, can you help me to mute? I'm getting distracted. Thank you. Then the next element are conditions. Conditions allow you to set rules for when a flow should or should not run. So they are always the if not then, that kind of conditions that you put. If this is correct, then take this action, or if this happens, take this action. That is what conditions are. So you can set a condition to only run on a flow if a specific field in the, let's say, a database record is a database. That's an example. For example, you can set up a condition to only run a flow if a specific field in the database record is empty. Just like I said, if something happens, then take this action, And then variable is actually very important. Variable are used because we're going to be using variables in part of this demo. So variable are used to store and manipulate data within a flow. So I would want all of us to understand variable in the simplest form. So I give an example. When I was in school in those days, and then, they bring all your provisions to you. What you will do actually is that you pour them in a container, and in that container you label those containers. So think of a variable. Okay, let me bring it home to we the women, so to say. I'm not biased here, guys, please forgive me, but let's bring it home to we the women. If you go into our kitchen today, you will see that you have containers for salt labeled. You have containers for pepper, containers for dry pepper, or containers for even Maggi and all of that. So what variables are actually is that you take a kind of or a statement, so to say, and wrap it up. So think about it the way I describe it right now. At the point where I got a sachet of salt. I decided to pour it into a container and label it as what? As salt. At the point where I bought a sachet of Maggi, so to say, I put it in a container and then label it as what? Maggi, so to say. So that's what variable, as they're actually used to store data within a flow. So variable takes that position of saying that I have this element or this data, but I'm putting it in a container to store it. So you can use variable to capture data from triggers actually, or from actions, and pass it to other parts of the flow. And we're going to be using this variable as part of what we're going to be doing. Then you have expressions. Expressions allow you to manipulate and transform data within a flow. So you can actually use it to perform calculations. You can actually use it to perform dates and time and more. And then connectors are actually part of Microsoft Power Automate. So it is not only Power Automate, I would say it is it is part of Power Platform. Power Apps uses it, and every other component of the Power Platform actually make use of it. And so you have connectors such as Microsoft Teams, such as SharePoint, because you know the Microsoft 365 ecosystem is actually integrated in such a way that you can actually call for data from other components of M365, so to say. So you have components like Teams, like SharePoint, that you can actually call data from. And for you to be able to call those data from them, you refer to them as what? As connectors. So they allow Power Automate to connect to those services like Microsoft Teams, and even apart from M365 components, you can use third-party solutions like Salesforce. So moving on, let's talk about templates. Power Automate also offer a library of pre-built templates that you can use to create common workflows, such as template that you can use to send notification when a new file is added, or a folder to a folder, or posting a message. And lastly, what better way is it that when you're creating your flows, or like we call it, you want to be able to monitor or to see in real time the performance of your flow. So with that, you actually have what? Analytics. We can help you to identify errors and optimize your flow over time. So let's talk about, I've given a little bit of background, like I've said. So the next thing is for us to talk about the demo. So my demo is going to be, little background of the demo is that, yes.
Jumoke, give me a moment. I have to go off live. So if you are live and watching the stream live right now, I would advise that you go on LinkedIn or on Meetup and get the Zoom link. So the demo. No, it's not you. So I'm talking to those that are live on social channel. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?